Greetings. It is a joy to be with you in this virtual space. Our church community welcomes you whether you are a new or a longtime member. We especially want to welcome those of you who are here for the first time. If you would like to learn more about our community and its online offerings, please go to nsuc.org and sign up for our newsletter. There has never been a better time to get involved or to become a member of the North Shore Unitarian Church. We would love to get you connected.
The words calling us into worship today come from UU minister, the Reverend John Gibb Millspaw. All too often, we pace the geometries of our walled gardens,
believing we are traversing the whole of creation.
With spirits of discovery, let us uncover the mysteries nested in our routines.
With the eagerness of children, let us seek out the secrets unfolding in our peripheral vision.
Let us behold each fellow creature with reverence.
Let us greet each day with praise and thanksgiving.
For life is a gift of incomprehensible magnitude.
Our lives are voyages with unknowable destinations.
Along the way, let us meet, kiss, challenge, and support one another.
Let us fashion a network of mutuality and extend it into the larger world.
In these ways, we forge lives of goodness and beauty.
In these ways, we know the life of prayer.
We acknowledge that the land we gather on as a congregation, where we live, work, and play, was not freely given to us. We gather on the ancestral land of the Nuchu or Ute, Apache, the Pueblos, Hopi, Zuni, and Dene nations. We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land. As these words are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their ancestral homelands are renewed and reaffirmed. We acknowledge that our use of and benefit from this land came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land we now inhabit.
I am Katie Kandarian Morris. I'm the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Durango. UUs gather in the spirit of covenant, meaning we need not think alike to love alike. Right now, we are planning and readying to gather again in person, while at the same time keeping our online presence so that if you are not ready or able to return in person, we'll be able to continue to see you online. The theme for this new month of June is play, which might be interpreted as to activate. This is Pride Month, in which Unitarian Universalism is affirmed in our very first principle. Each of us has worth and dignity, and that worth includes our gender and our sexuality. As Unitarian Universalists, we not only open our doors to people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, we value diversity of sexuality and gender and see it as a spiritual gift. We create inclusive religious communities and work for LGBTQIA+ justice and equity as a core part of who we are. All of who you are is sacred. All of who you are is welcome. Leading our service today is the LGBTQIA+ team. Anna Royer is also our volunteer worship associate. Other members of the LGBTQIA+ include Robert Bridges, Don Spangler, Jim Brook, Susan Kuntz, and Bonnie Miller. Shannon Beaver, our connections coordinator, serves as greeter. James Mirabal is our tech director, Dennis McClure is our tech assistant. And Lawrence Nass is today's musician. We define worship as shaping things of worth. In so doing, we create community, providing opportunities for transformation.
As we light our chalice and say the words of affirmation, we ask that everyone remain muted so that we may focus on the covenantal connection we're creating. I will speak the words aloud and lead, and we hope that you'll say the words aloud at home as well, even though you're muted. And together we say, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need. For these high purposes do we unite in worship.
Our meditation words this morning come from Sir Alex Capitan, lay community minister, organizer, educator, and editor. Zay is the co-leader of the Transforming Hearts Collective and the founder of Radical Copy Editor. Meditation on opposites. Spirit of the universe, life force that flows through all beings, power beyond our knowing, we ask you to help us see beyond our dependence on opposites, to transcend our desire to know who is like us and who is not. Open us to the knowledge that in this room there are complexities and diversities of identities beyond black and white, beyond old and young, beyond woman and man, poor and rich, uneducated and educated, disabled and able-bodied, gay and straight, ill and healthy, wrong and right, broken and whole. In this room, there are people who embody juxtaposition, who can tell stories written on their bodies about both and neither, who carry intimate pieces of the truth that there is no such thing as opposites. Spirit of many names and of no name at all, help us find release from our belief that all things must be either or, this belief that walls us off from one another, ensnaring us in a battle of same versus different. Help us to open our minds, to deeply listen, and to truly know one another, finally glimpsing the kaleidoscopic beauty of the divine.
Who knows what tomorrow brings in a world few hearts survive. All I know is the way I feel when it's real. I keep it alive. The road is long. Oh, there are mountains in our way, but we climb a step every day. Love lift us up where we belong, where the eagles fly on a mountain high. Love lift us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear wind blows. Some hang on to used to be, live their lives looking behind. All we have is here and now. All our life out there to find. The road is long. There are mountains in our way, but we climb a step every day. Love, lift us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love, lift us up where we belong, far from the world below, where the free wind blows. Time goes by, no time to cry. Life's you and I alive today. Love, lift us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love, lift us up where we belong, far from the world below, where the clear wind blows. Oh, where we belong. Oh, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love, lift us up, far from the world below, where the clear wind blows.
Our story today centers on how children naturally come to understand their gender identity and corresponding pronouns. And from that natural process, how children can and do recognize the pronouns that best fit their internal feelings, in spite of what external pressures the outside world tries to have them accept about themselves.
When you were born, you were given a name and a pronoun, probably he or she. As you get older and know yourself more and more on the inside, some of the ideas of she and he may fit you, and some of them may not. Ideas about he and she are very strong right now. Many people believe he means only certain things, and she means only certain things. These ideas affect what people think about everything: how you dress, how you wear your hair, or how you express the spirit of who you are, even what colors you like. People can think they know what your pronoun is based on their ideas about she and he. This is a way of only looking at the outside of a person and not the inside of a person. On the inside, you may not feel like he or she at all. Maybe they feel the most free, or you may feel like both she and he. But mostly, you probably just feel like yourself. This inside part is the most important part, because there is no one else like you in the world. This is why everyone should be free to be exactly who they are on the inside. Who you are is not always something you can put into words or explain. You just know who you are because you are. Pronouns can be a way to share how you feel on the inside. Because this inside part is the most important part of you, it cannot be about outside ideas of how people think she or he is supposed to act. It has to be about how you feel. The truth is, ideas about he and she change all the time. If they don't fit, you might be an important part of changing them. Only you know what pronouns express the spirit of who you are on the inside. The words from this video are from the back pages of the children's book They, She, He, Me, Free to Be. In it, pronouns are used as a familiar starting point for kids and grown-ups to expand ideas about gender and celebrate expression.
The first time I had the opportunity to provide in-depth support to a transgender teenager, we met at a trailhead, hours from the nearest paved road. I was working for a wilderness school, and my co-instructor and I had just spent 2 days preparing for a 3-week backcountry expedition. Route planning, food packing, gear inspection, leadership curriculum, etc. And of course, reading the files of our soon-to-arrive adolescent students. We had memorized their names and key facts about them, age, gender, home state, favorite activities. We were eager to welcome them and help them feel at home, or at least as at home as possible for a teenager dropped off in the middle of the Colorado wilderness with a group of strangers. Little did we know that our student Sam from Florida, who we thought was a boy, would step off the bus as Sammy from Florida, a girl excited to live out her true gender identity for the first time with a new group of people. Both names are pseudonyms, and I changed her home state to protect her privacy. Sammy had taken advantage of long layovers and airport bathrooms during her journey west to transform her external gender expression, her hair, her clothes, her makeup, her jewelry, her name, her body language, to more closely match her internal gender identity as female. And she was thrilled to meet a new group of people as her true self. She was bubbly, happy, goofy, relieved to be away from home, and relieved to drop the male identity she'd been assigned at birth, and looking forward as well to trying to shed some of the pain and shame she'd been feeling as a result of society's lack of acceptance of her. At that time, about 15 years ago, when I led wilderness expeditions with adolescents, many of our daily structures were based on binary gender identity boxes. Boys sleep in this tent, girls sleep in that tent. Boys pee in the bushes on this side of the trail, girls pee in the bushes on the other side of the trail. I hadn't received any training on what to do when a male student stepped off the bus as female. When some of the other students in our small group knew Sammy was transgender and knew what that word meant, and others didn't have a clue. They had no idea that Sammy had not always presented herself to the world as she presented herself to us. And when we took stock, my co-instructor and I, and looked around, there was nothing medically wrong or psychologically unsafe, and therefore no reason to delay our departure. So we set off into the woods for a short hike before we set up camp and cooked dinner on our first night together in the wilderness. While this might sound like it's Sammy's story, and I am honored she shared her story with us, the story I actually want to highlight for you is my own. Sammy gave me a tremendous gift when she showed up at that trailhead as her true self. She blew wide open a huge opportunity for me for real life, real-time experiential learning as an educator and as a human being. Rarely have I had so many meaningful opportunities to make mistakes in such a short period of time, to learn and grow and feel joy, frustration, and everything in between as our small group traveled through the wilderness, learning to live in that environment and striving to unlearn limiting ideas about gender identity in order to create a community where we could truly welcome Sammy. And as an eye-opening side effect, we also began to create a community where all of us could show up as more of our true selves. So when I add my pronouns to my Zoom screen name or introduce myself and say, "Hi, I'm Anna. I use she, her pronouns." I often think of Sammy and the other transgender and non-binary students I've worked with since. And my experiences with them add depth and meaning to sharing my pronouns as part of introducing myself. Something that might seem like a simple practical detail, because on one level, introducing ourselves with our pronouns, as we're encouraged to do here at UUFD, is a practical detail. It's useful information to have when meeting and interacting with someone, similar to knowing their name and how to pronounce it. Yet on another level, it symbolizes that I want to welcome people of many different gender identities, both in our congregation and in my social circles. Transgender, non-binary, genderqueer, gender fluid, gender expansive, agender, intersex, male, female, and more. The practice of using pronouns as part of introducing ourselves is both deeply important as a symbol of aspiring to a radical welcome, including all gender identities, and simultaneously, it is nowhere near the kind of sustained disruptive work we need to do. The work we need to do to dismantle the fear society taught us to feel towards transgender and non-binary people, and the judgment we were taught to place on anyone who doesn't fit into these two distinct biology-based gender identity boxes of male and female, and to stop the violence towards transgender and non-binary people that grows out of that fear and judgment. Using my pronouns when I introduce myself doesn't mean I have it all figured out. I am not an expert in this area. As a cisgender person, someone whose gender identity matches the sex I was assigned at birth, I continue to make mistakes around gender identity issues despite my best efforts not to. And despite my commitment to educating myself and becoming more open and more welcoming towards people with many different gender identities, the more I learn, the more I realize I want and need to learn. I'm grateful that one of the ways I get to do that is with the other members of our UUFD LGBTQIA+ social justice team. You have seen Dawn Spangler and Jim Brook and Susan Kuntz live here in today's service. Soon you'll hear a recording from our team member, Robert Bridges, and Bonnie Miller and Nancy Stauffer couldn't be here today, but they're both right in there with us doing the work of the team. One of our priorities as a team is to connect with you, our congregation, the members and friends of UUFD who show up to Sunday service, wanting to create beloved community, wanting to learn and grow, wanting to open to more of what Sir Alex Capitan called in our meditation poem, the kaleidoscopic beauty of the divine. So how do we do that? How do we, as a social justice team at UUFD, provide information and inspiration? How do we create opportunities for honest connection and for inquiry, for unlearning of harmful ways of being, and for trying on of new ways of being with each other so that we might build a more radical welcome? Today, one of the ways we'll do that is by sharing this video from the LGBT Equity Center at the University of Maryland, College Park.
Hey, here's an article about people sharing their names and also their pronouns. What's up with that?
Well, a lot of my friends have started sharing their pronouns. And actually, I have too.
Oh, but I don't get it. What's the point?
Look, you can't always assume a person's gender or pronouns from that person's name or appearance. Those assumptions aren't always right. You know that, don't you?
I guess. So, you mean like transgender people?
Well, yeah, sometimes I guess. You can't tell who's transgender and who isn't based on appearances. And well, sometimes women with short hair and a whole lot of other people have assumptions made about them.
I get that.
And some of my friends are neither men nor women. They're non-binary. And some simply go by pronouns you couldn't guess.
Sure, but for most people, I can guess, and I'll guess it right.
Listen, that sends a wrong message that you have to look a certain way to go by certain pronouns.
Oh, so people share their pronouns because you can't always tell by their appearance.
Yeah, and sharing invites other people to share, so you don't have to just guess.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
My name is Sika, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
And I'm Nick, and I go by they and them pronouns.
Sharing pronouns is a lot like sharing your name. We expect that people won't guess at our names and make up names for us that we don't want.
In English, pronouns are sometimes used in place of a person's name.
Many people go by she, her, and hers, or by he, him, and his. However, others go by they, them, theirs, or some other set of pronouns. For instance, Nick goes by they, them. They are a colleague of mine. I work in the office next to them.
Asking me my pronouns is not the same as asking my gender. Pronouns are publicly used to refer to me, even if the details of my identity are private.
A great way to avoid assumptions is to share your own pronouns and then invite others to do so as well. But remember, not everyone will feel comfortable sharing their pronouns, or what they share today in this space might not be the pronouns they'll go by in other spaces or in the future.
So how do you do it?
Do what? Share your pronouns?
Yeah.
Well, I would say my name's Yasmin, and I go by she, her pronouns.
Okay, and I can say my name is Akeem, and I go by he, him pronouns.
Exactly.
Oh, that wasn't so hard.
So that was our story video. And the one we saw earlier was designed to go in this homily. Both of them give us a chance to learn and reflect. Both of them encourage us not to make assumptions about gender identity, to create space with each other, to introduce ourselves and our identities as authentically as we can, and to remain open to how people, identities, and communities change over time. In this spirit, we have expanded our team name, and you'll see a visual here. You may have noticed that our UUFD social justice team recently changed our name from the LGBTQ plus team to the LGBTQIA plus team. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex, asexual, agender, or allies. And you may have also seen this beautiful welcoming message from our minister, Reverend Katie, published about a month ago in the Durango Herald. We changed our team name to be more inclusive, to honor the gender identities of the people on our team and in our congregation, and also to walk our talk, to do our part to continue creating a welcoming congregation where more of us are knowledgeable about how we can be welcoming, where more LGBTQIA+ people may want to join us, and where all of us may feel more welcome to share our authentic selves. We always want to continue expanding our thinking and our actions as one of UUFD's social justice teams. And as Robert says in this audio recording they created for this service, to push our language and push the ways and the words we use to define ourselves.
I told him that while I grew up with cisgender pronouns of he, him, and his, and that I have been culturally conditioned to use these pronouns as links. One of the kids asked me what my preferred pronouns are. I told him that they are they and them. I told him that while I grew up with cisgender pronouns of he, him, and his, and that I have been culturally conditioned to use these pronouns as linguistic tools for explaining myself to myself and for explaining myself to others, that this isn't the case moving forward, and it certainly isn't the case for kids growing up today who are much more flexible in moving between he and she and between hers and his and theirs, and that I use the they, them pronouns because I feel it is critical to push our language and to push the ways and words we use to define ourselves, the words we use to name and articulate our experiences of being human and our experiences of encountering the divine.
May we show up for ourselves and each other, fully human, seeking connection, remembering our limited individual perspectives, showing each other our true selves as much as we can, striving for a radical welcome. Amen, and blessed be.
It doesn't matter if you love him or capital H-I-M. Just put your paws up, baby, 'cause you were born this way. My mama told me when I was young, we were all born superstars. She rolled my hair and put my lipstick on in a glass of Herbert wine. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God made no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and respect. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, I was born this way. I was born this way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Just be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be. Give yourself prudence and love your friends. Subway kid, rejoice your truth. In the religion of the insecure, I must be myself, respect my youth. A different lover is not a sin, believe capital H-I-M. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and yourself. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. I was born this way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Whether you're broke or evergreen, you're black, white, beige, don't love to sin. You're Lebanese, you're Orient. Whether life's disabilities left you outcast, bullied or teased, rejoice. Love yourself today, 'cause baby, you were born this way. No matter gay, straight or bi, lesbian, transgender life, I'm on the right track, baby, I was born to survive. No matter black, white or beige, chola or red, I'm on the right track, baby, I was born to be brave. I'm beautiful in my way, I made no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born to be this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and yourself. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, 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 there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. I was born this way. Same DNA, I was born this way.
North Shore Unitarian Church is a community that is grounded in love, guided by reason, committed to spiritual growth, and striving for justice. We accomplish this mission through the generous donations of our members and friends. And so I invite you to text your donation now. Please remember that in order to give, you need to type NSUC and the amount.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Lawrence. Thanks to the whole team for beautiful worship. As we prepare to close, we'll sing together, leaving ourselves on mute because of computer latency that doesn't allow all our voices to simultaneously sing. Our closing song, This Little Light of Mine, comes from the African American spirituals tradition. It reminds us to show up. Despite the pain and fear and anger, we have to let our light shine. A light of freedom, justice, equality, openness, courage, compassion, peace, and love. Let's sing along with our video of our congregation, this little light of mine.
Bum 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 ba-doo ba-dum.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So in the sanctuary and right here with my little battery powered light, we'll extinguish our chalice and we'll light it again next week from the parking lot, just 1 week from today. Nana?
Reflecting again on our meditation words from Sir Alex Capitan. Spirit of many names and of no name at all, help us find release from our belief that all things must be either or, this belief that walls us off from one another, ensnaring us in a battle of same versus different. Help us to open our minds, to deeply listen, and to truly know one another, finally glimpsing the kaleidoscopic beauty of the divine.